Hey everyone, bet you thought it was Danny, huh? Well, unfortunately, intern Danny's been messing up on his coffee run, so we had to fire the guy. Anyways, this week's guest on the podcast is Joshua White. He just turned 24 this Saturday and just found out that his wife is pregnant with his first kid. What a stud. This week, him and Nick take on some challenging discussions and talk about cancel culture, false sexual accusations, and most heroic moments to date. Wait, are you telling me we have polos now at the merch shop? Guys, you gotta check it out as soon as possible. The riddle for this week is, what's the best side of the house to put a porch on? The answer will be revealed at the end of this podcast. Also, don't forget to leave a 5-star review and become a reviewer of the week. We're trying to get to 100 5-star reviews as quickly as possible. The reviewer of this week is brought to you by Kyle Fiverrod with a very heartfelt comment. We appreciate you, Kyle. Also, lastly, the sponsor of this podcast is brought to you by Little Webby LLC at littlewebby.com. Follow them on Instagram at littlewebby LLC. DM them and say that we brought you for a 30-minute consultation. Danny is the intern, I'm the manager, and this is Nick.
Hello and welcome. This is the Nickolas Natali Show. I am your host, Nickolas Natali. Today we have a very special guest, the most special guest, Joshua White. Joshua, season's greetings, brother.
Season's greetings.
How's it hanging? How are you today?
It's hanging pretty well. I'm good. Made a little drive out here, but you know, it's fun.
That's right. I'm gonna throw this out there. Josh drove on out from Irvine to 29 Palms. That says a lot. You know, it says a lot about your character. It says a lot about who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm. Keep it up. Yeah, it's nice.
And I just want to say I appreciate
this
that.
This is an encouragement pod right here.
Yeah. This is going to be 50 minutes of me just giving you over-endearing comments.
No toxicity.
None. You know what I do feel good about this podcast? It really does give me an opportunity to compliment my friends in an environment where it's like you can't escape it. Like you just have to take compliments.
I just gotta take it.
Yeah. So I enjoy bringing people on that I can just compliment nonstop.
Wow.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
Josh, you're going to be a father soon.
That's true.
Big news.
Wow.
Big news.
Anybody didn't know?
Yeah, this is going to be kind of like, this is going to hopefully not the first social media appearance of your soon-to-be fatherhood, but we're here to celebrate it.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
I don't know whether you're going to have a boy or a girl.
Boy, for sure.
Really?
No, I don't know for sure yet, but it's gonna be a boy.
Let's say it's a boy.
Okay.
What do you feel is the hardest part about growing up as a boy?
Me.
Yeah.
My baby.
From your experience.
From my experience. Probably bullying for me.
Really?
Yeah, just because I was bullied a lot.
For what?
Just being super pale.
Hmm.
Having the last name White.
Hmm.
I was pretty small. Like, who would have thought, right?
Yeah.
I was pretty skinny growing up, so it was just like, I was an easy target.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think hopefully I'll be able to try to instill in my son that it's okay to get bullied. You don't have to, like, take it like I did. But, I mean, you know, I feel like there's a balance of, you know, turning the other cheek, but also not being walked on.
How did you respond to it then, and how do you wish you respond to it now in retrospect?
I think I tried to bully back a lot, and like...
Fire with fire?
Yeah, and my comebacks were terrible.
Oh.
I just wouldn't quit. I wouldn't quit it at all.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I never tried to fight anybody because, I tried to fight one guy once. And
Physically?
Physically, in like 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a lot bigger than me, height-wise and girth. Super big.
His whole body is just a big girth ball.
His name was Josh, actually.
Oh no! Fire, Josh.
He's a nice guy now. Actually, I haven't talked to him forever. But
Oh wow! Now I feel like I know exactly who you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And I ran up to him with a stick, a little twig. It was a PE. And I threw it at him, and he blocked it with his arm. And then, like...
This is a retaliation move?
Yeah. Like, he was just making fun of me. He was just clowning me for being whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And he grabbed my shirt, and he leg swept me on the ground. And I got up, and he leg swept me again. And then I just kind of sat there for a second. And he just walked away.
And you kind of just processed it?
I didn't cry.
No, I don't think you... Yeah.
I mean, that's... You know? I thought that's what you're...
Oh, I was just meant, like, internalizing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So... That was a hard day.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But, hey, you don't have to go through hard days sometimes. Everybody's gone through a hard day.
Once or twice.
Yeah.
Once or twice, here or there.
Right.
Have you come to terms with all of that stuff, like, at this point as an adult? You know what I mean? Because, like, I think there's some things that happen to us as kids that are still, like, vulnerable, in a sense, like, almost sensitive to the point where, like, when we think of those things, it takes us to who we were then. Right. Like, it turns us into that 7th grade Josh in that moment. So you still kind of process it as 7th grade Josh rather than married, soon-to-be father, adult Josh.
Yeah, you said it if anybody listened to the last podcast Nick put out, you said a lot of our adult life is just processing what happened when we were kids, to us when we were kids.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think those moments where I go back and I think of all those moments where I was bullied or where I was made fun of or in front of a lot of people, or I just felt like, man, like these are hard moments. Some of those I still definitely have to, work through and be like, that it wasn't supposed to happen, it wasn't right for it to happen.
Yeah.
But, I can't care about what men think of me, and that's what I have gotten over more as I've grown up, is I really cared about what everybody thought of me back then, and now I'm like, I'm just going to be me, I want to be Josh, and a lot of people like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, then it's okay, like, I'm still going to love you and be nice to you, but, yeah, it's been nice to grow up. I've liked growing up.
Yeah.
College was a way better time than high school and middle school, so.
Do you think that's part of your personality? Because I think your personality is a love-or-hate personality. Mm-hmm. Like, I imagine people love you to death, right. Or people are like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the people that I can definitely tell, like, the vibe is, like, they cannot stand me.
Yeah.
Because I'm, like, sometimes kind of in your face, I kind of tell it as it is.
Well, I think it's more they just don't get it, and they don't try to get it. Okay. Because, like, so when I first met you, I loved everything that was going on with you, right? Like, we were playing Ultimate Frisbee, you were throwing out weird noises, like, I loved that, and it seemed at that point, I don't know if you fully didn't care about what people thought then, but it seemed like, I'm doing my own thing, right. Like, this is who I am, and that's the way it is, and I think I'm attracted to, not sexually, but, like, I'm attracted to hang out with people that are more so that way. Right. So.
Yeah, that was freshman year, man. I think that was definitely like the beginning of me just being comfortable with who I was.
Yeah.
Senior year of high school, you would have seen a completely different Josh, like trying to act all cool and all like, I hate like Ultimate Frisbee, but secretly I love it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna try hard at this, but really like, oh my gosh, I want to try so hard.
But yeah, I think just over the years of, like becoming a Christian, like that was a huge reason of just being like okay with who I was and who God made me to be. And then just, learning that people really did like the person that I was, like, naturally. I didn't have to change or be different around certain people. Like, wear a mask, like the whole mask ideology is something that I did in real life all the time through high school. But in college, it was just, like, no mask, like, this is who I am. And if you don't like me, like, that's cool. Like, I'm not gonna fight you for that.
I imagine the mask was more of like a protection mechanism, though. Mm-hmm. So like there's that. I have to wear a mask to protect myself, but like people are really attracted to my genuine self. Mm. But you're probably in an environment where people are clowning you, and you don't feel comfortable being your genuine self. So it's like maybe college was that time where you're like, screw all of it, start new.
Freshman year, college. I miss college.
What do you miss about college?
It's just the simplicity of it. Like, you just had classes, and, I had a girlfriend, obviously.
Yes.
Through basically all college, she became my wife, but, like, I didn't have to support anybody. I just had to, like, make sure I get my work done, I lift, hang out with my boys, Saturdays for the boys. Mm-hmm. There was just I feel like there's just way less responsibility, Yeah. And I love having responsibility now, but it's just, I was probably like, I was stressed out a lot in college, but that was just because I didn't understand life yet. I still don't.
I was going to say, do you understand it now?
More. I understand life more. I've created a life, so.
That's right. Like you created a whole life.
Right, isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, like, technically I have created one life.
Oh, yeah. Takes two to tango.
Alyssa created the other side.
Yeah.
Let's not get too far into that. You can have that talk with your parents.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at least you should. If you haven't yet, we're not your parents.
Right.
I'm not. If you are opening up the door for people to text you on that topic to educate them, that's a bold move. I'll put your number in the show notes.
To this, if you are over the age of 30, no, you gotta be over 18. I'm not gonna talk to you. Crystalia.
I was about to say, Crystalia, here we go. Do you want to get topical for a little bit? You want to segue into Crystalia?
I mean,
so I don't typically cover like pop current events on here, and yeah, I don't know if it's like there's not a whole lot of substance within those topics, but I think this leads to some undertones that are worth discussing. So Crystalia, comedian, right? That's what he does. That's his job.
Right.
And recently on Twitter, is at least where I first saw it, there's been girls coming out that he either, what's the right term?
I think he just like messaging them and like wanted like nudes and
being pervy,
really pervy
to underage girls.
Right, like 16. It's not who he's what 30 something.
He's 30. He was 35 for a lot of them. I saw a lot of 35 and they were 17, 16. It's odd. It's a huge gap.
And they're under 18, obviously.
Yeah. All of it is weird.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how every celebrity has a skeleton in the closet like that. You know what I mean? Like, how do you make it so far and just, like, go throughout your career just thinking, you know what? This is probably fine.
Yeah.
I might just...
But, I mean, if they come out and say it, then they're going to get destroyed anyways. So it's like, how do they... I don't know. I feel like it's every famous person. I mean, I guess, like, everyone has skeletons, but I don't have, like,
I don't have, like, an underage girl skeleton.
No.
Well, in my closet, right. Literally.
I mean, yeah, I don't really have anything like that. I mean, it's like, like, they always, like, they like, people went up Barack Obama because, like, he smoked weed in college.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Like, I mean, yeah, but, like, chill,
Yeah.
You went to Harvard. Like,
yeah.
I think you didn't go to Harvard, right?
Yeah, come on.
I mean, it's probably pretty smart weed, I'm gonna leave that there.
High IQ. You got a high IQ for that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, that dude, I mean, he ruined his life, obviously.
So you're saying there should have been a better way. Like, let's say hypothetically, before all this blows up, would it have been better for him? I guess he would be choosing a time, like, if he came out and was like, hey guys, like, I feel guilty about this. These are the things I've done, and this is how I'm gonna change.
I mean, he did it. I feel like you just gotta write it out, like.
Wait till it happens.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to stunt his own career.
Right. I mean, his career. He had a pretty good career. I mean, he had past tense. Whoever's gonna hire him now,
Yeah. Nobody.
It was the same thing happened to. I mean, he did it to himself, but the guy who played Kramer in Seinfeld. He forgot his name. He became a stand-up comedian after Seinfeld, and he was at the Laugh Factory in LA. This was like 2014, 2015, and an African American man in the crowd like said something, like heckled him a little bit, and he said, well, you said that because you're an N-word.
Hard R.
Hard R.
Oof.
And like he kept saying it, and I think he was drunk, but like the actor and the comedian. Yeah. But I'm like, and then that obviously ruined his career. And he was past Seinfeld, so past his prime. But now everyone, when I think of him, I think of Kramer, and then I also think of he was like pretty racist.
That's his character, yeah.
Right. So he did that, present tense, but the Crystalia thing. I mean, there's so many like that, obviously, like. The whole Jeff Epstein.
Oh yeah.
Like all that, like Harvey Weinstein, the director.
Oh yeah.
That was the one who got he got caught with all the child trafficking and underage girls, and he would put himself on young actors, trying to
make it. Yeah.
He would say like, you're gonna get famous, come to my hotel room.
Yeah. And
that's a way different. I think it's a lot different than what Chris did.
That other guy's coercion.
Yeah, right. But, yeah, I think once Chris... But did he do it recently? How many years ago was it? Because I think that girl came out and she said it was pretty recent, actually.
2014.
Okay. So
don't quote me on that, but that's what
he was famous.
Yeah,
right?
he was probably approaching his top, his peak.
See, that's the thing. That's just stupid. I mean, obviously, okay, there's no reason you should ever do that. But if you're gonna get famous and you know you're gonna get famous,
or your goal,
right? Your goal is to be a comedian, which means you're gonna be famous if you want to be successful in that role.
Yeah.
You should not Twitter message or Instagram message. I sound like such an old person. DM. You should DM an underage girl. Hey, like, you know, let me see you in the nude.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure that's what he started with.
Yeah.
It's a solid starting line.
Yeah. It's all of it is uncomfortable to me.
Yeah.
I feel like I have two thoughts there. The first one about the Kramer thing, I think there's a whole topic of like, let's say he is drunk. How does that, like your undertone of who you are has racism being a part of it is terrible. Like having that ever be an excuse for somebody like, oh, they were drunk. Two things for you. One, they shouldn't have got drunk. Two, they're showing some true colors there, you know? Like that's not an excuse. That's even more justification to say, this person's awful.
Yeah.
The other thing is like, I feel like there is no, what's the correct way to word it? Like Chris D'Elia is rising in his career, but I feel like a lot of times people that are rising like that aren't matching their drive for their career with their drive for having a good character, you know? And that's probably where that gap is of they separate their comedic career and who they are as a person, and that's never going to be like that, right? You know what I mean? Like their character is always going to has to be side by side as they climb, and it's just not.
I think it's even, you look at like the idea of obviously like every human is sinful and immoral, right? Like there's moral people out there that still are sinful, and so him trying to be moral in a comic, like, I mean, those things
tough line.
That's you gotta tickle that line a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, his comedy. I think I've watched one special of his, and he's funny, you know.
He's entertaining.
Right.
Yeah. His not knocking his comedy at all.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like you can't separate those. That's the thing. Like, I think he was probably thinking, okay, if I do this, like, you know, I mean, you have to rationalize it in your brain if you're the person, right?
Yeah. Or maybe I'm famous, I can get away with it.
That's
true.
Know? I mean, he got away with it for 6 years.
Yeah.
Until she was like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
I want to know what makes the person who it happened to decide. Like that's awesome for them to figure, like, be like, to have the courage to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're just worried about, you know, backlash, or people not believing them, or thinking they're just trying to be the victim, because they were a victim, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you know, like with the Me Too movement, like a lot of those, like, I mean, people, you know, look down on that movement because it just like you know, people said like it would victimize like all the people who, like a lot of them, you know, like either weren't valid, or they would say like, oh, this happened to me and it wouldn't be true. But a lot of them had a lot of validity. You know?
Yeah.
That was, I think, that the Harvey Weinstein thing started that. So, I mean, good for them, you know, like.
Speaking out.
Right. Nothing's ever happened to me, you know, like Terry Crews. You heard about that guy?
He also came out with something like that, right?
So a director at a party like groped him.
Yeah.
Multiple times, and he finally came out with it, and he said like it like changed his life when he finally told people, and people believed him.
Oh, no way.
And I was like, that's like a giant, jacked, awesome dude. He's Christian too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just crazy to like, if that had ever happened to me, I would immediately be like, what the heck, you know, like I'm gonna tell everybody and like go to the police with this.
But you think that, and then
that's true.
You know,
it'd
like
be pretty humiliating, especially as a guy.
Yeah, it is, and I'm sure like you probably shame yourself. You feel guilt yourself. You start saying, oh, I did this to myself, you know, like.
I put myself in a situation, maybe. I allowed this person to come in.
Even though, like, those are false, like, narratives in your head, like, I still think they happen.
Yeah.
But that leads me to this next thing. So, Justin Bieber, recently, June 26th or something, at least that's when I read the article. I guess that's yesterday or today.
That's great.
Whatever. He has now filed a $20 million defamation lawsuit against the two women who made sexual assault allegations against him. They lied.
Oh.
So he's suing them because they lied.
Dang.
So, as you're saying, the Me Too movement of people coming out, and some of them, like, I think if you make a false allegation, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Well, because if it was proven wrong about Chris.
Yeah.
Then a lot of people don't even know that it was wrong. So then they're just gonna have the idea in their brain that he's a horrible pedophile, rapist guy.
Yeah.
Or not rapist, pedophile.
Like, I think somebody's career could get ruined.
Yeah.
By that, without a doubt. Career and life.
I mean.
That's not a joke. That's no joke.
Right. Especially like if you're maybe that was you and you haven't like because Justin Bieber obviously let's say he did do that. Obviously I know he didn't because they proved it wrong, but he's got like millions of dollars. Obviously he should go to prison if he did that, but I know he didn't. But like he'd be like money wise, success wise or comfortability, he'd be fine. But if someone's like taking off and then somebody like doesn't like them and just comes out with hey, this guy did this to me.
Yeah.
Then their whole career's ruined, and then people are still gonna be hesitant to work with them, even if they're like, no, it was fake, it was wrong.
Yeah.
There's still gonna be that shroud of doubt,
Yeah.
Like that's a hard thing to be famous now. I think it's really hard to be famous nowadays. Because at any point you could just go on Twitter and
say some stuff.
Right, and anybody could say. Doctor some DMs and say, hey, this guy, said this, and boom.
Oh, I know how to Photoshop DMs.
Yeah,
trust me.
Right.
I get it. That's the scariest part.
I do it with my work. When I send to my friends, I say, hey, I just sent our manager, like, I hate you. And they're like, no way. I'm like, yeah.
I'm just playing.
That's what I do.
But yeah, true that. Here's what I don't understand, and maybe you have a better understanding of it. Cancel culture. Cancel culture is simply. We're going to shut down this person's career.
Right.
And some of it, I feel like, is and is not validated.
I can't stand cancel culture.
Hit me.
Saying, okay, you are responsible for your actions.
Yeah.
Whatever age you were, whatever, state of mind you're in, drunk or not, you are responsible for what you do.
Yeah.
But people change. Definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
So to look back, we've talked about this. To look back at our Twitter or our Facebook, back when I was 11 and 12 and 13 years old, the culture was it was okay to say a few words, certain words, on to your friends on Facebook. The word for gay people, the F word. That was rampant in high school. Everybody said that word, and no one batted an eye.
Yeah.
And looking back, I'm like, I'm so sad that I thought that was okay.
Yeah.
Because I knew guys that actually struggled with that are Christians, and that have told me about that. And I probably said that word in front of them. I don't know if I might have called them that,
Yeah.
And that, to me, that is, it's another sin that guys struggle with or girls struggle with, and obviously, we can go to that. That's a whole other topic, but it's no different than my sin.
Yeah.
So for me to shame them for that, just thinking it's a joke, like that's horrible. But if someone was to look back and find that on Facebook, if I was famous, and then say this guy's a homophobe, or this guy's a racist, I'm like, well, no, I'm not. Like I probably could be considered that back in high school, but I was 17, I was 16, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I knew, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
So.
And that word had I'm not defending that word in any way, but how you use that word was not as derogatory toward a people group. You know what I mean?
You called your friends that if they were acting stupid.
Yeah.
You didn't even think about what that really meant.
And we would never use that word now. Is the point? Yeah.
Xbox Live would.
Xbox Live would. 8-year-olds on Xbox Live would.
See, that's the thing. It's like they just. I mean, obviously, hopefully there's more education now for kids like that. They know that's not right, but yeah, the cancel culture thing. I mean, cancel me. I'm not famous, but I mean, like, I am sure there's stuff. I called people gay, they're being dumb. That's what it was. That's all it meant.
Yeah.
But obviously now, like, looking back, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't look at the connotations and really understand what it meant.
Yeah. So now, cancel culture is going to bring up something from 10 years ago and force you to publicly apologize, and now you're going to have a taint on your career.
Right.
Because of something you said. And the other thing is like you're saying, we have all of those little blemishes in our life where we're overcoming and growing, but I'm not taking to social media every time I have a self-realization that I have learned a lesson from my childhood,
Yeah.
Like, famous people now, everything they've done in their growing process, they have to apologize for their growth in their process.
Yeah.
And I'm also not here to defend famous people and say they're all saints. You know, that's not what I'm doing at all either. I'm just saying, I'm not, as a normal human being, publicly stating all of my flaws and like things I've done harmfully, and that's not going to affect my career when I go to my 9-to-5 job. You know, nobody's scrounging the deep.
Right, and it's crazy because, like, you know, maybe the famous people that are being, like, canceled, you know, and then they have to apologize for it. You know, I feel like a lot of them would say something along the lines of, I've learned from this already.
Yeah.
This has already been something I have grown from. And now it's coming out. I didn't, you know, bring it to light because it was just an internal thing I was processing. It's your baggage, you know? It's your stuff that you're trying to figure out. But then somebody is like, oh, you know, I didn't like that they said this on their TV show or whatever, and I'm going to find something in their Twitter from, you know, 30 years ago. Well, okay, it's not 30 years ago, but it's pretty crazy, you know?
It is. Some people, I think, deserve to be canceled, though.
That's
I think
true.
there is some justification.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that rapper, Tenacious X, the guy that abused his girlfriend and then, like, has been confirmed with some...
Oh, X6X9?
Yeah, that guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he just got, like, the most, like, streams on that new music.
The new song.
The new song with Nicki Minaj,
But he has a history of
yeah,
being abusive.
Well, and I think he put, like, a 13-year-old in his music video and, like, did some stuff, and he got put in prison. He got out because of COVID.
Yeah.
And he had ratted a bunch of people, and they just call him, like, a rat now. Which is, like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the memes about him are kind of funny.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
And the reason I think he should be canceled is because these are ongoing.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Agreed. He hasn't learned from it.
Even
if he has, like...
Those are too serious of things to continue to support someone with so much influence over the youth that you just can't.
Yeah.
You can't tolerate that.
Right. I mean, who was the rapper who... what was his name? He got indicted for having relations with, like, a 13-year-old, 14-year-old. He has a bunch of hits. I forgot his name, man.
Oh, R. Kelly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
R. Kelly, oof.
I mean, cancel him. Like, for sure.
Yeah.
I think if it's... Yeah, I mean, there's a line, you know? If it's from 20 years ago and you know, said something, you know, derogatory on social media, I don't know if social media is around, you know, or something like that, but if you, like, rape somebody, or you mess with an underage girl, like, that's...
Serious consequences.
That's pretty different. That's two way different things, you know?
And I think there's another layer of... So, from what I know about R. Kelly is he... Like, in his childhood, he was either molested or something of the sort. So here's what I can say. I can understand how he is turning into that behavior and it's happening. Yeah. But there's no way I can tolerate it.
No.
You know what I mean?
You can't justify it. You
Yeah.
understand why.
I understand why he is the way he is, but I can't, with good conscience...
Look over it.
Let it continue. Not a chance.
And support him by, you know...
Stream his music.
Right, like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But then, you know, 6ix9ine or whatever. Is it 6X9 or is it 6ix9ine?
I have no idea.
I don't care.
I heard an interesting phrase, actually, today. And I was talking about how the American public can vote with their dollar. So, like, choosing to listen to or, like, buy tickets or buy merch.
Yeah.
You're voting with your dollar. And that was a really interesting, like, truth.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you want this person to no longer continue bad behavior, you gotta stop supporting.
Completely unrelated, but same concept. People hate how the New York Knicks are run by James Dolan. Because they think James Dolan is just like a garbage person.
Okay.
He's a horrible owner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think he's a bad person, but he just doesn't know how to run a basketball team. And he hires stupid people. He makes stupid draft picks. They just cut a very good young prospect named Alonzo Trier. He's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, pick him up. And a lot of fans I see on, like, Knicks fan pages or, like, the main pages on, you know, anything related to the Knicks. Everyone's like, stop going to games. Stop buying jerseys.
Yeah.
Stop commenting on posts. If all the fans just went and, you know, obviously, like, I couldn't ever, like, leave the Lakers, but I would, like, I would do something. I'd be like, I'm not gonna like support them. I'd watch the games, but I just they're gonna lose, you know. I mean, man, like it's crazy. It's the same concept, you know. You vote with your dollar, you know. Like I don't like James Dolan. If you're a Knicks fan, you don't like James Dolan most likely. But so then just basically just pay no mind to the Knicks, and at some point, hopefully, you'd think somebody would buy the team. But it's still worth like it's the highest.
Oh yeah, I saw something like that.
It's the most valuable team in the NBA. It's like $5 billion or something like that. $4 billion.
Wow,
it's nuts. Lakers are second.
Yeah,
but
represent.
It's crazy, and that's why he hasn't sold the team. You know.
Yeah, because we keep on supporting him.
Same concept.
It's like boycotting without the boycotting. It's like it's an individual choice that could have a long term.
But I mean, I think it's still like giving up. Like you have to like give up something to like really make a change. You know.
Yeah.
And I feel like for people, as an individual, like it's really hard to give up something that you love, you know.
That's true.
Or to give up something that like you have always
have some pride in.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Some sort of.
It's hard thing to change. It's hard to change.
Amen to that.
Amen to that.
Amen to that, brother. Change. You're gonna bring a life into this world. So let's say this. Here's another question for you.
All right.
You work with the youth.
The youth, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got like a youth group.
I serve in our high school ministry at my church as one of the leaders.
What is one thing you've seen a lack of when working with the youth that you for sure want to instill in your child?
Well, I mean, staying with current events, I would say the idea that racism still exists in society right now is never talked about at my church.
Oh, really?
Or really obviously not really that much in school. I feel like it's always been a past tense thing. And my church is predominantly white and Asian. And so I think it's kind of like, what's the need? Yeah. And just seeing like the shift of the focus this year because of everything that has happened, all the events that have happened, I was hoping that would change. And for some churches it has. I think some churches are scared because they're worried about people that don't want anything to kind of change or they don't want to change themselves, because that's really what has to happen, because the church is made up of people, you know. But yeah, I think that's something that needs to be talked about more. Also, another heavy hitter, pornography never gets talked about really. Yeah. As in with like high school guys, I talk about it all the time with these dudes. Right. They're all like, wide-eyed, like, he doesn't know, right? You know? Yeah. But of course I know, because I was your age too. Yeah. So, it's like I know exactly. Like I always do the phone test. So go if you're a high school leader or you have a younger brother, and you don't want him seeing those things, but you want to know if he is, or she. Technically, girls struggle with it too. I know that. Go to their phone and grab their phone from them. Yeah. And see how they react. Yeah. If they are super possessive of that, which usually how everybody is about it, but if they're scared, if they're like, what are you doing? Why are you looking at my phone? Why give it back? Like, if they're really freaked out about it, most likely that's probably what it is. Yeah. Or they have something in it they don't want you to see, obviously, but that would most likely, I wouldn't really, if I was, like, cussing in high school on my text, like, obviously I don't want my mom to see that, but I wouldn't care as much as, like, my history, my browser, Right. So, I would say those are the top two.
How would you say... What would be actions you would take then to either? Because I feel like for racism, it's starting to put your child in more diverse environments from a young age. Right. Because I do think racism is taught. Like, I think it's something you like. I can't imagine a child coming out just hating a specific race. That's not how it works. Like, parents instill that. But if you had a child that was constantly in environments where there's multiple races, like kids aren't going to be like, oh, they're going to be like, I don't like that kid because he stole my toy. Right. Like, it's truly by action, So.
I think so. Jimmy Butler went on a podcast, and he's from the Miami Heat, if everybody knows who Jimmy Butler is. words, and he was saying he had an encounter with a son and a dad in Miami, and he was walking in out of a store, I think it was a Walmart, with his brother, and he's like, we're both like 6'8", we're huge black dudes, right? And the son and the dad were walking in, and the son said to the dad, the son's like 5.
Yeah.
The son says to the dad, hey, those are those N-words that you're telling me about.
Yeah.
And the kid's like 5, and he already knows the N-word. And
Yeah.
he says it to his dad. And so Jimmy said he turned around, and he like death stared the dude.
Yeah.
And he goes, that just made me realize, like obviously I've already realized this, but even more so, it is taught, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously my dad didn't teach me the N-word. He didn't teach me racism.
Yeah.
But, you know, my dad's 65. He grew up in the 60s and the 70s. Like,
Yeah.
that was when all this stuff was still going down, even more so now than
Yeah.
now. So, you know, like small jokes or, you know, comments when we're driving by Home Depot where there's a lot of Hispanics, you know, like jokes about illegals, like
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Like all of that
Instills
in me. And so that's what I'm going to consciously put forth an effort to teach my kid that these things aren't okay to say, especially like you shouldn't really treat anybody differently.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't have, and I have to like unteach myself about those things, you know?
Yeah.
And I think putting yourself in situations where not like actively trying to be like, oh, we're gonna befriend an African American.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause
Sounds a little too
yeah.
much.
But you know, like live in a place that's more diverse. Orange County is hard.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's better. But certain areas, obviously. Hopefully, go to a church that's more diverse or that talks about it. You know, just naturally have friends that aren't just the same everything of you. Like, be friends with a Democrat. Like, and I don't even like putting myself in like a category, like, because I agree with a lot of things on both sides. But I guess I could, you know, consider myself a conservative because a lot of the things I align myself as conservative. But you know, it's okay to not agree with someone and be really good friends with them.
Oh yeah.
I'm really good friends with a lot of people that would consider themselves more democratic.
Yeah.
And they changed my views on a lot of things in a good way.
Yeah.
So I think that's just what you have to do. You just gotta be friends with people that aren't exactly like you. You can
Yeah.
be friends with people that are a lot like you and have a lot of common with, but
You gotta have diverse thoughts too.
it's true.
You know what I mean?
You gotta be challenged.
Yeah, you do. And that's forever, you know?
Yeah.
Like your growth doesn't stop, and
Right.
the people you surround yourself with is a huge part of that. I think I'm lucky in a way, because my middle school and my high school were like predominantly white for the most part, but I played sports throughout it, and I always felt like now when I, in retrospect, am thinking about these things, like sports was a huge part in like my ability to befriend any race, you know, because we had a similar bond, you know, we're all trying to just play a game, play a sport. Yeah, we're all trying to ball out. And so when I'm in environments that are predominantly a different race, like most of the public basketball courts that I go to, I'm one of the only white guys that are there, but I'm not fearful because of that reason, you know. And I think there is like this fear mindset of, if I am in the minority in this environment, that means I am in harm's way, you know. And I just like I feel lucky to have had that, because I can totally see how if you're in an environment where it's a bunch of different races, you're going to feel threatened if you have been told that narrative to perceive this people group in a specific way.
Just growing up with a bunch of white people around you the whole time.
Exactly. And it's anything that's different is scary. And that is across the board, like from race to money to religion to anything that is different than me. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be associated with that. And it's like, at least for the church's sake, Jesus is chilling with tax collectors, with sinners,
prostitutes.
You're not above any of that.
Yeah.
Your belief, just because you think it's right, is not above what anybody else thinks. Yeah. And it's definitely not above a conversation. You know, like you can still walk away, think you're right.
Right.
But you better discuss and try to, like, I'm not saying solidify your own bias, but I'm saying listen to an opposing thought.
Understand why they believe what they believe and why they, you know, firmly back whatever that their, you know, beliefs are.
Yeah. And I heard another interesting note that I think is true the other day is, like, in this current state, the listen. I'm gonna listen and learn. I'm gonna listen and learn. Listening isn't getting in discussion so I can state my side. You know what I mean?
I get what you mean.
Like, I'm gonna enter this conversation because I have this strong opinion about something, and you're gonna learn from me why this is correct.
So the objective shouldn't be,
I'm gonna teach you.
Right. It should be, I'm gonna learn from you, and maybe you'll learn something from me. But I mean, hopefully, it's if you're trying to learn to be less racist, obviously that's what but I mean, yeah, I think with anything, like, obviously, like, there's certain things that you're not going to change on. Like, if I had a conversation with a Muslim, I know I'm not going to become a Muslim. I'm not going to, start following Islam.
Yeah.
My goal in that conversation is to somehow portray, Jesus in a light of that he is God, and, share the gospel with them and share that I love them. But listen to their beliefs and, and their most likely upbringing, like a lot of Muslims, like, that's like their life. It's like they're probably better Muslims than I am a Christian, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot stricter of a religion, I think. So just to listen to them, and because really, if the whole point of a conversation is you just trying to get your point out and look good and argue with them and try to win.
Yeah.
If you're trying to win a discussion, an argument, like,
it's already wrong.
Right. Because you're not going to win over anybody to Christ that way, because in reality you can't. Like, the only thing that's going to change them is obviously God. So that's a good point. Listen and learn.
Listen and learn. I almost think it's you could enter a conversation with the mindset that I want to be able to better relate, better understand, so I can better serve.
Wow.
Have your action.
You just pull that off the top of your head?
Yeah. Have your action be so you can love other people better.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're all trying to do. Like, the solution to, like, we cannot get into because I don't know enough about it. Like, we can change governments as a whole, but the solution is we're trying to love people better.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's that. And I mean, that would be like the easiest, like, one sentence to sum everything up. It's just like, if everybody loved each other better, if everybody loved their neighbor as himself, you wouldn't see any racism, any bias, because you would just look at that person and say, I see me. Everybody loves themselves most of the time. Everybody cares about themselves, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of the point of that, is that you would care about that person as much as you care about yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Crazy.
I think another misconception is that because I like to be loved in this way, that means you like to be loved in this way. So if I don't understand how you receive love,
this is like love language kind of thing, then.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. And I think that goes across religions and races, like cultures.
Yeah.
They perceive love in a different way. So if I am trying to force my way of love on you, which sounds weird.
Yeah. We're being deep right now, so it's good.
It's not gonna be reciprocated as well. You know what I mean? Like, it's or received as well.
It's the same thing with marriage. Like, if my love language is like physical touch, don't make it weird. All right, everybody, just.
I'm not making it weird.
You're not making it weird.
I might make it weird.
Our audience, I don't want them to make it weird. And
Chris and Leah, if you're listening, don't make it weird.
Don't make it weird. And I mean, I don't know, Alyssa would be really good at telling me what my love language is, but I would say physical touch and words of affirmation. Definitely words of affirmation. And because I always struggle with, like, my what's the word?
Getting encouragement?
Yeah, and not my ego.
Self-esteem.
Self-esteem, there you go. So Alyssa's is time and gift giving. Like, I like giving her things and doing things for her.
Yeah.
So if I love her, like, she's not a big physical touch person. Like, her growing up, like, she didn't really get hugged a lot, as a kid. So, like, she's the only really person she's comfortable hugging is me. And even then, like, sometimes she's like, I'm chill, but I mean, she's pregnant. So women that are pregnant just most of the time don't want to be touched. I've learned that. Everything hurts most of the time, first trimester. So if I try to love her the way I know how I like to be loved, it's not gonna. She'll like it, obviously. Like, she knows I'm loving her, but it's not gonna be received in the same way. So it's really the same thing. It's like how you should love the world. The people around you, the people you're close with, you should know how they get encouragement and love and feel cared for by you, and then do those things. What would you say your love languages are?
My love languages?
I don't know them all, but I know a few.
I think acts of service,
Okay.
words of affirmation,
Okay.
and I think time is in there too.
Yeah.
Those are probably the big
I
three.
think everybody has
Time,
a little bit of
time,
each.
yeah.
But time, yeah. I mean,
Because then it's like, what, I'm never going to see you?
right, like if we never see each other, but we like text and stuff, but texting and calling, that's time, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I agree.
Anything. So if we never, like, I feel like time, it's like, for the other ones, for the other acts of love, or ways to love someone, time is always like, kind of like overlapping.
Yeah.
Because you have to go get a gift for someone. You have to take time to do a chore for someone.
Yeah.
You have to take time to, you know, physically love them.
Yeah.
Cuddling, hugging, obviously. You know, so it's
Little
like
spin right here.
little. I mean, yeah, I don't know. If in a friendship, physical touch is really. I feel like that's more for marriage, but.
No way.
What? Like you feel love of? Like yeah, if we see each other, we're gonna like bro hug, but like. We're not,
I didn't say mine was physical touch, but I think it definitely happens in friendships. For sure. Like, I think there's like some instances where I express physical touch rarely.
Okay.
But like, there's just some people that I'm like, I feel like I can just physical touch you.
Am I one of those people?
I don't know. Do you feel like I physically touch you?
I don't. I think we hug each other when we see each other.
Yeah, like.
We like high five, you know.
Like if I'm sitting next to somebody and I'll give them a nice little rub.
Nice little rub.
Yeah, nice little rub, or like give a good arm squeeze, you know.
You are an arm squeezer.
Yeah, so I feel like that's a form of physical touch. There was this guy in college. Oh man, used to annoy me so much until I realized his love language was physical touch. Oh gosh, like he used to like, hey bud, slap me on the shoulder, and I'm like, why are you touching me? Yeah, like don't touch me like that, you weirdo. I did after like the 4th time. I was like, dude, why are you always?
Do we have a name?
No, absolutely not.
Post-pod.
But I asked him one day, because he kept like doing weird slappy stuff. Slap and tickle stuff. And I was like, hey man, is your love language physical touch? Like, is that how you express love? And he's like, oh yeah, man. And I'm like, okay, I get it now.
Then what happened?
I don't like it, but I can understand it. I understand where you're coming from.
I don't necessarily agree with your belief, but I'll understand. I get why you're the way that you are.
Because for a lot of it, I couldn't tell if it was a love tap or he was just like a weirdo, you know?
Was he an engineer?
He was an engineer.
Right, well,
Come on.
next
I mean, there's some more weirdos in the engineering building, but.
Oh man, love the engineering building. Never went at one time in my entire life.
Not once?
Not once.
Why not?
Because I'm not an engineer. Good answer.
Yeah, I took a non-engineer into the engineering building, and it was so funny. Like, they were just giddy with joy and could not believe, like, this is what engineers do? Look at all this stuff. And it was just a line of computers, and I was like, yeah, I guess we sit in front of them. That's what we do. I don't know.
That's lovely. Software engineering, so.
Yeah.
Lit.
Literally, talk about a desk job, man.
All right.
What do you got for me, Josh?
I want to ask a hard hitter.
Oh, no.
I really want to ask you this, actually. So, who would be the number one person you would want to have on the pod that's alive? And then the second part of that is, who would be the number one person you want to have on the pod that is not alive anymore?
Oh, man.
So, alive first.
Oh, number one.
I mean, you made a video about this one dude, so... Obviously,
Oh, Bob.
Yeah, Bob. Good old Bob.
Yeah, I think number one, who would I love to interview? This is just top of noggin.
Just top of noggin.
Top of noggin.
He's not heard this question before the pod.
Yeah, so top of noggin. First person I want to say is Jessica Alba.
Okay.
Jessica Alba is a huge inspiration for me.
Okay.
Isn't that weird?
So weird.
Yeah, and...
I feel uncomfortable.
Why?
I'm just kidding.
Oh. She's... Yeah.
Did she make her own, like, brand,
She's an actress, and then she made her own...
like, skincare?
Yeah, makeup...
No, it's like a...
Honest company?
Yeah, Honest.
Beauty company,
right.
Balled Out, and then she's got this family that she seems like she's hanging out with.
Seems like it. Hope so.
Love it.
Who's she married to?
I see his face, but I can't...
Justin. Right?
No.
No, that's Beal.
I thought his name was, like, Mark or something.
Justin Timberlake. Because Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel are married. They're a power couple, man.
Yeah. Talk about a power couple. Yikes. You can fix it. The mic just fell over.
It's fine.
But Jessica Alba
Okay.
is probably on the top of my list.
Let's get on it.
Jessica.
Jessica.
If you're hearing this, please.
Jessica. Okay.
And then Dead?
Dead.
Oh, Dead. First person that comes to mind is Mac Miller.
Okay.
I love that Mac on the show. I don't know. I don't really know what we would talk about, but big fan of his music.
I watched this video of, like, apparently he had big beef with Trump, with Big D.
Yeah.
And because of the song Donald Trump. Which is one of the first songs I've ever heard of Mac Miller.
Yeah.
It was a good, it's a good song. And then Donald Trump was like stoked about it, and then he
flipped that on its head, yeah.
Because he wanted money for
Yeah.
it, and he wanted royalties because it's been streamed like 75 million times or something.
Yeah.
So then he like.
I thought you have to get approved if you
I
use.
thought so too.
Yeah, because
No,
isn't that
it's not
Kanye and Taylor Swift thing? Remember? Because
Well, yeah, that was all fake.
that was all fake, but it made me wonder if there was actually some legality to it. You know, like can I just use your name in any song?
You can.
I guess that's freedom of speech,
I
right?
give you permission to use my name in any song you create.
But it's probably different if,
You're like Donald Trump.
well, yeah, if things start getting monetized.
But then like he went on the show, and he like dissed Donald Trump like 100 times.
I saw that, yeah.
I was like, dang, he went in
Hard,
on him.
yeah.
And Donald does not like criticism. If you haven't noticed by his Twitter account
He
or his
doesn't like.
presidency.
I feel like he doesn't like polarizing views on him.
Yeah, he likes one side. The side that likes him.
Yeah. I feel like I don't want to. I
We
don't want
can't
to.
leave it. Yeah, we're good. We're good there. Okay, so
What else do you got?
let's see. All right, we're going topical here.
Okay.
So, me and Nickolas, we struggle with the same syndrome.
Oh, wow. We do.
I think so.
What is it?
I think Nickolas is a little bit farther along in his recovery than I am.
What are we talking about here?
So it's called small calf syndrome.
Oh, yes, that's very true.
And I wanted to dedicate the entire pod just to calves.
Yeah.
Just to talk about how much
Talking about baby cows, by the way.
baby cows. Yeah, veal. But yeah, I mean, you just work them a lot, and they just don't.
They just don't
do
grow.
anything.
I once spent 90 days. I did a test. I did a test.
You did.
I did.
I'm in the middle.
Of your
I'm
test?
hating it. They're sore.
I'm finishing my test here.
Okay.
I did 90 days of at least like a full calf workout, 15 minutes,
15 minutes.
dedicated to calves every day. Did not, no growth.
Nothing.
Tone? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
something.
But it was frustrating.
Okay. I think every time you do a calf workout, every time you do like an arm workout, you see a pump, you're like,
Oh, yeah.
this is lit.
Crack a white clover, baby.
It's not white claw, I promise. But if you do a calf workout, like you see maybe a little pump, you know. But it's like,
Baby pump.
Yeah, baby cow pump.
How to turn the camera back on.
So it's just crazy. Like, you know, you see all these guys and they're like, oh, you just gotta work them. You know, you're not growing them because you don't work them. And I'm like,
I hated that. I always hated that.
Who's the guy? Remember?
Castleberry?
We were living together. Yeah, we lived together. Sophomore year, me and Nick both followed this one dude.
Oh,
His name
A-Train?
was A-Train.
Yeah.
And he's off the face of the earth at this point. I don't know
Yeah.
where the heck he went.
Fell off real quick.
But he had the biggest
Juiciest. Looked like
calves.
chicken
It was
breasts.
disgusting. Like, his calves were beautiful. He goes, oh, I used to have small calves. And I was like,
Okay.
shove it, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I used to watch his calf workouts and do them, and nothing would happen.
Nothing. I've heard, this is going to be
Here we go.
we get a little sensitive.
Okay.
I've heard how some women want to gain weight in order to get larger breasts, and I almost want to know if I gained a bunch of weight just to get larger calves, slim down, keep big calves. Do you think it would work?
How big would you have to get, though?
Probably like 220 at least, right?
Just like
I actually don't know. Because when I think about it, like even in my largest state, in bulking, the calves didn't follow
I'm
along.
the biggest I've ever been right at this moment, and my calves have not been.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe like only I can tell because I
Yeah.
look at them every day.
Yeah.
Which is it's small calf syndrome. You look
Yeah.
at them and you're like,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen, and it doesn't.
Yeah. I agree. I think the more toned or more athletic they get, the more the separation, the more butt calves I get. But the size.
What was that phrase you used right there?
Butt calves is when the two muscles in your calf split and you have the big middle.
Very sexy.
Yeah. You could have up to 3 butts, ladies. And men. I don't know. Anyway. And that's the most I ever got is a more defined butt. I never got.
Wow.
Yeah, I never got growth.
Yeah.
So, thank you for bringing that to light and embarrassing me on
It's
my
fine.
own show.
I mean, it's not. Nick isn't going through it as much as I am. All my friends know like I have this too because I talk about it.
Your body type's different than mine is though.
That's true.
Like you're probably longer and leaner than I am.
I was more of an ectomorph growing up. I think like you were. Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
I feel like you were more. You were like a mesomorph because mesomorphs are like Arnold. They're like the ones that just are always like.
Just a little more.
Like they're just always just
more beef.
Jacked.
Yeah. No.
The endomorph is just like you're just bigger. You're just a little thicker. But you weren't like thick. But like we've watched highlights of you playing ball.
I'm like a round.
Yeah,
not round. That's not bad. That's yeah.
It's just like I was just a pencil.
Yeah.
And you were like a expo marker.
Yes, that is a great analogy.
I'll be here for probably like 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's probably about right. I'm gonna clock this out real quick.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's just it's not an obsession. Like I don't really care that much, but like
you brought it up on a podcast.
I did because it's a funny thing to talk about because no one really like cares that much. Like the average human being isn't like, oh, I care about my calves.
Yeah.
But like people that
gym rats, they care. Gym rats care about their calves a lot.
I hate those guys who are like, oh, I'm like, hey, like, what do you do for calves? And they're like, I've done nothing.
Oh yeah, I hate it. Genetics.
I hit them at that point. I just hit them in the face.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just a.
Boom. 2 hits. Me hitting them hitting the floor.
Wow.
I think I was trying to punch one person in the face once.
Did you rehearse that line?
No, but
2 hits.
I wanted to say it for a while.
So you have rehearsed it, yeah? That's what I meant in your head.
I mean, my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just not in the mirror.
Right. Yeah. Maybe.
Okay. What else you got on that list?
Well, there's one big thing.
Okay.
That we actually recorded something already for that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And we swept it.
We swept it under the rug, yeah.
Because
it was loud. People were intrusive.
Left halfway through too.
Correct.
Which.
Let's get into it.
So. No toxicity in this podcast.
Unless I'm playing Britney Spears.
So.
Josh, and another friend of ours, we took a road trip. And things didn't go quite as planned.
No.
So Josh, please dive in. Okay. Let this story out. Let it into the world.
Please add any.
Oh, I will. Yeah, I will.
Details.
I'll be the ad-libs guy.
Tidbits.
Yeah.
So we decided to take a trip our junior year on spring break to Crater Lake. And we decided this because I wanted to go to not Sweden, Iceland.
Iceland, yeah.
And Nick was.
I was down. I remember. Yeah, I was super down.
It was a lot. It was like $500 round trip.
I remember saying, "Let's book them right now."
Yeah.
You're not down.
I'm not down.
Let's go to Iceland. You're not down.
You're not down.
Come on.
I would love to still go.
Yeah, me too. Put it on the list.
I don't have a passport. I'm way too American. I don't have a passport. I'm one of those weirdos.
Anyway.
So we were like, where are we going to go instead?
Yeah.
So we decided to go to Crater Lake in Oregon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Correct.
And, honestly, we actually did a pretty good job planning it. Like, I thought we planned everything well. We had a tent. We borrowed a lot of stuff. We got good sleeping bags that...
Borrowed as well.
Had a lot of clothes, had good food. Like, we were ready. We bought a camping stove. That'll come back. But we didn't really account for the weather that much. Like, we should have more so accounted for the weather. I think we thought it was going to be snowy and cold.
Yeah.
I don't think we thought it was going to be snowing and freezing.
Yeah. Blizzarding.
That's a good.
Yeah.
I like that. So, we left on a
Sunday.
Well, I don't care.
Yeah.
And
give us the juice, Josh. Give me the juice.
15-hour drive, and we had the camping stove, but we didn't have any butane.
Yeah, butane, which is like it's a type of propane, I guess you could say.
Right. There's 2 types: propane propane stove, butane stove. How about a butane stove?
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
So we stopped at like 7 Walmarts all the way up.
Yeah.
Never found any.
None.
Found it like the last Walmart in California. And it was like 0.2 fluid ounces smaller than the recommended size.
For the stove, yeah.
Okay, recommended. You
Yeah.
know? And we put it in the store on top of a bunch of other butane cartridges.
Yeah.
And we turned the stove on just to see.
Yeah.
And it looked like it worked. We heard a little...
We heard a hiss, and then we got a little bit too freaked out because we're like, okay, bad idea. Next to some more butane.
But we bought it.
We bought it.
So then we get to Crater Lake, and there was no campsite, which we didn't really think through that one.
No.
How do we not? I don't know.
It was... We get to Crater Lake, and for like the 3 miles approaching to where the site was going to be, it was snow walls on both sides.
Like 10 feet.
10 feet. Do not see another single human.
What kind of car were we in?
We are in a Mazda 6.
2-wheel drive.
Yeah.
My old one.
No chains. Who needs chains?
We had chains, but then we figured out after the trip they didn't fit.
Yeah, they didn't fit. And so we approach what looks like some sort of little cabin lodge.
Right.
Get out.
There's nobody in there.
Nobody in there.
Visitor,
the lights are off.
brochures
Yeah, it was a
open.
visitor lounge.
And then we got to like the end of Crater Lake, the road, because everything else was snowed out. There was like cabins and like maybe a hotel, but it was closed.
Yeah, everything was closed for
there
some
was, like,
reason.
A bunker bathroom.
This is not COVID. This is 2016.
Right. And there was a bunker bathroom that was really kind of cool because it was warm in there.
They had, the lights were on. It's the only thing that was
we were
open.
gonna sleep in there. Like we almost thought about sleeping in there, because then it started snowing.
Hard. Yeah.
Very, very hard. And
to the point where we could not go back down the mountain. It was up a mountain.
Yeah.
We were gonna slide the whole way down
Yeah,
and get stuck. Not a chance we could make it back down.
So we pitched our tent
Yeah.
in a parking lot that was covered in snow that said no overnight camping.
Yep.
There was no other option. Nobody else there. And we needed dinner
We needed it.
really bad.
I was adamant about sleeping outside. I was adamant about sleeping in the snow.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
You wanted to sleep in the tent, right?
I wanted to sleep in the tent because I kept saying, this is what we came here to do.
You were.
Yeah.
You wanted to accomplish the goal.
I did.
Of camping in Crater Lake.
Very goal-oriented.
We actually never saw Crater Lake either.
We did not.
No, that's sad. So we put all of our gear in the tent, and we needed to cook, and so we couldn't.
Mind you, Josh has been talking up this odd sausage, hot dog, broccoli stew the whole time,
So
which
good.
I'm very apprehensive of.
So good.
Sounds like the weirdest thing you could ever make. I'll
So-
never know.
So we get all of our gear in there, and we open up the butane in the stove in our tent because it's snowing outside. We couldn't light it outside.
Yeah.
And it didn't light the first 2 tries.
That's right.
And I read the instructions and said, if it doesn't light after 3 tries, turn it off for like 3 minutes and then try again.
You wanted to call it quits at 2 though, because it was hissing.
It was hissing.
And it was leaking.
I had in my brain, what if this explodes on us?
And I was saying,
I want
third
this
time's a
deal.
charm, baby.
We're
Yeah.
not using PB&Js and
Pop-Tarts the whole time.
So it lights on the 3rd one,
Yeah.
which was awesome.
A big yay.
Like
Yay.
we all voiced our
Audibly
pleasure.
celebrated.
And then it exploded.
It exploded hard. At least the first flame,
Yeah.
a foot.
Right.
Maybe a foot.
Still scary.
Tiny but controllable.
Right.
Stupid. Oil flames you cannot put out with water.
Yeah.
It only fuels the flames. Poured water on it. Oh God.
And then it got bigger. And it was probably like 3 or 4 feet in the tent.
It got to the point where it was singeing the top of the tent while we are locked inside.
Zipper zipped. And then
Chaos ensued.
we were just kind of chilling there for a sec after the water thing happened because we were like, what do we do in this moment? And then
Get out!
We opened
Get
the
out!
tent. We were screaming. We opened the tent. There was more water in the car, which was like 2 feet away. Then Nick was like, "Oh, I'll pour the gallon of iced tea."
Because this is what I remember. You two took off for the car to get water,
Yeah.
and I just like grabbing iced tea,
Right.
pouring it on the flame,
And on the surrounding gear.
and on the sleeping bags, all over the food. But it made the flame even higher, and I was like, "There's no way this thing's going out."
And then I got more water, but then I'm in my car and I look up and I just see Nick go, grab the stove that's on fire, and in 2 seconds, just heave it out of the tent.
Oh, gosh.
Probably your greatest hero moment. I mean, unless there's another hero moment.
No, that's got to be it. Barehanded.
No gloves.
No gloves, grabbed a flaming stove.
And then it
chucked it into snow.
It popped, and then we threw snow.
We started chucking snowballs at it until it finally got put out. But the tent was ruined.
It was so bad.
Destroyed all of the inside. Talk about if you wanted to see some stars at night, perfect tent to do it.
Yeah,
but it got wet.
It was
the snow got into it. We had to clean it. It was like
all of our blankets were sticky and wet. Sleeping bag was sticky and wet.
Outside of the tent, the snow was already like liquidy. Yeah. So like I think we were rocking socks because we're trying to get comfortable. I remember my socks and feet just be ice cold outside of those tents.
So we did what we had to do. We slept in the car. I had a panic attack.
You did.
In the car. Nick physical touched me, calmed me down.
I did.
You did. I think you like rubbed my shoulder and you're like, dude, it's gonna be chill. I'm like, no, I was freaking out that night.
You thought there was a person.
I thought there was a person.
You thought there was a person outside.
Somebody else did come up.
A car did roll up behind us.
And camped.
And camped as well.
It was like 3 a.m. when they came up.
I think our other friend was instilling some like, what if a bear comes and eats us?
Okay, yeah.
Vibes.
Yeah, he didn't help with the anxiety. But we were all just freaking out. And then our tent was broken the whole time.
And that was the first night.
That was the first night.
We had 3 days to go.
We were not leaving. Like, we left Crater Lake. And then the second night was awesome. Because we had a tarp, so we put that over the top.
Oh, that's right, yep.
We kind of saved the tent.
Yeah.
And then we stayed a third night in Monterey Bay, and it was raining and windy. We broke the tent even more. And Nick was still adamant about sleeping outside.
My stubbornness really shined in that trip.
Nick slept outside.
In the rain.
In the rain, in the cold, in the wind.
The only one, Josh and our other friends slept in the car, and I said, I'm sleeping outside, that's what we came here to do.
It was like 4 a.m., and I hear knocking on the window, you're like, yeah, it was too cold. I'm like, it's been like 4 hours. Like, what are you doing?
I was fine with the water getting on my face. I was fine with that. I was fine. Once it got into the bag, that's when I was like, I can't do it.
Once the butt crack got wet.
Yeah.
The calf butt got wet.
Yeah.
And then we had some good pizza in San Francisco.
That's right.
And then we kind of just didn't like each other at the end of the trip. We all got kind of touchy. Because our other friend wanted to get In-N-Out, but we were like an hour away, and me and Nick were like, we just want to go home.
This is it.
Yeah.
And I feel like there was also a moment where after we camped that night, I drove there to that camping spot real fast.
Yes.
Dangerously fast.
Yes.
And it turns out in the daytime, it was like there was no fences on either side of the road. It was like on this cliff, and I had no idea we were on a cliff. Like if I had gone off the road at all, we would have died.
There was a lot of moments we could have done that trip.
Yeah.
And then
that was a poor choice on my behalf.
We got home, and it was spring break.
Yeah.
And we all kind of were like.
We took a week apart.
we didn't like talk to each other at all.
It was time for a
really, really good story. You know?
Yeah.
Probably one of the best stories I have in my life.
Yeah.
It's like my go-to if anybody asks me like, you know anything crazy? I'm like,
oh, let me tell you about the stove. This Beauty-Tane stove that caught on fire.
That stove, man. Everybody roasts me for doing it in the tent too. I'm like,
but it was snowing.
What other option do you have?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have another option in that moment. Obviously, if you had the right butane. And then I have a propane stove now, so I'm a normal human being, and it works great.
Yeah.
Still a little bit PTSD from when I light it. Like, I'm a little scared it's just going to explode on me.
Yeah, I'll never get that sound out of my head of just the and then suddenly.
Would I do it again? I think I'd tweak a couple things.
change how I
did
a few things.
Okay.
Reflection. I think we're approaching the end of the podcast here, so we need to finalize either one more topic or one more question.
I'm gonna hit you with another question.
In your court.
Okay. What is the hardest question you have ever been asked?
This one. There's no good answer to that. I feel like most hard questions come from like scenarios I've never lived.
Oh, because you don't like the experience?
Yeah, like like if somebody is asking for advice on something traumatic that happened to them, that I can show empathy for, but that I don't have real experience to say, this is how I did it, this is how I would have done it. I think those are tough questions to respond to. I guess that's a general
That's a good
question.
answer, though. That's a really good answer.
Thank you.
You hit that pretty quick, like.
Off the dome, baby, off the dome.
Wow, I mean.
I took an improv class,
Yeah.
a few times.
Do you have any final ones for me?
Ooh, final questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I asked a couple of them. What's the best thing you've learned from a father figure? That's probably the one I'm going to end on.
So is this from my dad, or is this from a father figure?
It could be either.
Okay.
You could do both. You could do one from your dad and one
Every
from...
father figure I've ever had that's not my dad has always disappointed me in a really bad way, which is really sad. But I guess that's okay because like my dad.
You have a real dad?
Right,
Oh.
my dad's disappointed me, but like not like to the point where I've been like, man, he messed up. Like the little things, you know, that I've known that I'm like, oh, like that sucks. But like everything he's taught me has been like pretty sound.
Yeah.
Like I love the parts of me that are like my dad. I'm a lot like my dad actually. The mannerisms of my jokes and stuff.
Your dad likes to clown.
Yeah, like I think the best thing he's taught me is, I mean, obviously like he instilled a lot of the Christian values and like the Christian truths into my life, but I mean that's just a given. Like apart from that, I would say like just how to interact with people. Like they always put me in situations like with adults, with parents and kids, and and they always said like act mature in those situations, and like he taught me how to talk to adults when I was young, and like a lot of adults always said like, wow, he's like really well spoken for a little kid,
Yeah.
And so I feel like that just carried with me, like the communication skills my dad has. He's a salesperson. That helped me a lot through high school, college, post college, in the business world, with marriage. Big one, communication's key.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely just like looking at him, the way he communicates with like my mom, my sister, with me, and with his job, with other parents when he ever had like disagreements or he was like protecting our family. He always just showed like that he knew what to say, when to say it in the right way. Most of the time. I mean,
Nobody's perfect.
Right.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I'm all about that.
Sick.
I think my last thought on that is how you worded, I saw my father do these things. I think for young men, me included, I'm a young man.
We're all doing that.
Yeah. My friend Luke always says this, more is caught than taught. So like, I think sometimes, at least for me, I put pressure, like if I'm hanging out with a younger man, like I put this pressure on myself to be like, oh, I gotta give the perfect advice, or like I gotta give the most sound wisdom in this moment. But really, just being around them enough, they're gonna take the good from you. Or at least they're gonna try to,
Right.
like.
But also the bad, like if you.
Yeah, if you're a terrible person,
Right.
yeah, they're still gonna pick up on that. That's a great point. Like if you are living a lifestyle that's not encouraging to a young man,
It's tough to be a parent because you gotta be on it, man.
you got to be on it, and it's tough for anybody that wants to have like a lasting impact on the world,
Right.
because
Of value.
it's like I'm not saying to put pressure on yourself to be this perfect entity, but like there's a fine line of caring about what people are thinking of you, but also knowing how much you influence other people.
Right.
And I think the thing, bring it back full circle to like our current events, like on an individual level, when it comes to change, I think we often neglect, maybe downplay how much impact we actually have on our family and friends. Because most of the change in our lives, in our world, come from when we influence the people we know the
The
most.
circles that you're in.
Yeah, and that's exponential.
That's a really good point. Because a lot of people think they can't change the world.
Right.
But really, you changing the world can be as simple as just having those conversations and educating other people and being a good example to others around you that maybe aren't as educated or don't believe that there is like racism going on or
Yeah.
a lot of evil in the world,
Miles McPherson said this the other day. He said, world change starts with obeying God. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
But then I think about,
Right.
like, I don't want to out anybody that's actually a good person, but I think about the people that are like consistently devoted to growing and bettering themselves. Those are the people that I am looking to, to be influenced by.
Right.
It's because they're trying to obey God, and that's true. The way they're living is affecting me. And we just don't, I don't know if maybe we're all hyper conscious of something like that, but it's true.
I mean, yeah, but you have to have if you have the right role models, then it's going to be good for you.
It's going to be good.
Pick the right role models. Some good advice. Sometimes you're dealt a tough hand,
Yeah, for sure. Joshua White.
Hi.
It's been a pleasure having you on the show, brother. Where can we find you on the internet?
So pleasurable. My Instagram handle is Josh, the word W, the word double _you. So hit me up there.
Instagram, that's your place?
Yeah.
Are you anywhere else online?
I'm on Facebook, but
not your thing?
I only post about Lakers stuff on there.
Okay. I was going to say, final thought. Josh, if you ever start a podcast, I think you could slay the Lakers niche.
Oh, man.
You're so passionate about it. You have so much to say about it. I'm going to cut him off before he gets going. Josh, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
I'm peeing my pants.
Bye.
You can put that in there.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Jeez. Say goodbye.
Next week, stay tuned for the new guest, Luke Rodriguez. He's a law clerk for Orange County Public Defender. He got a full ride at Cal State Fullerton for political science and is currently studying law at UCLA on a full ride. Wow, a lot better than Kyle Rodriguez. Uploads, don't forget, uploads every Friday at 6 a.m. What's the best side of the house to put a porch on? The outside, duh. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in.